Right, it's 2nd October 2016. I'm lecturing a little bit about serial criminals, and in serial crimes, you have often person who is a fugitive in a country. It can be an inside person that creates serial crimes, or it can be person who is running over a border, for example, from Germany to Denmark, or United States to Denmark, or UK to Denmark. And often they use a third country, so that it's, for example, you meet a person called, I'm from Sweden, but you can actually hear he has a US accent, right? And often the story is a little bit, not that the story, maybe they mixed marriage or something like that. But anyway, for example, a rapist in the area, I had a suspicion on when I came to this area that there was a lot of young women suicidal. And I thought, like, that's strange, it wasn't women that were known to do drugs, or they're even more exposed to being killed. And but it was a kind of almost an epidemic of suicide. And actually, I thought, like, maybe not. Maybe it is a serial rapist who's using a kind of hidden method, which is the drug rape, right? And it's not the drug rape at a bar, like we know most of, but a drug rape at the woman's home. And if the young woman who is unexperienced is being drug raped at her home, and the person has key access, meaning that he has a copy key, or he has the equipment to open the door, or he is, in any way access where it's an unseen access. You can't call police and say, I had a break-in tonight and I felt I was. So actually, I think that some of this suicide could be women that maybe experience being abused, but really couldn't place something. What was going on is, I mean, it's very, a woman knows often if there's been abuse. It hurts, and she's maybe been dizzy, and she feel something, right? I've been trying that many times, so I know what I talk about. She maybe can't understand what's going on, because the smartness, intelligence of this crime is that she's attacked at home, maybe even in her bed, right? So actually, this kind of serial criminal, I found out in this area, was a U-ring, meaning there were more than one rapist, and that they shared data on the women, the weak woman. A U-ring is a kind of ring that shares data on where does the children live, where does the single woman live, where does the weak live, right? And they share data as if there's any value in the house, if there's any cash, if the woman is accessible as a rapist victim, if she file, for example, um, if she's a woman that on the law paper is not a good witness, if she's handicapped, if she's unemployed or something, she's an easier target because she can't do much in the system, right? She can't really go somewhere and find a good lawyer. So actually, they target the weakest first, right? And in a U-ring, they kind of lead with small signs to discrete signs where the person live. It can be a small cross on something, or left a white bag you can see at night, some white paper that points in direction, and they often take a back road of the area so they won't be seen, like a wooden back road or something. And often, because a urine can be pretty big, they kind of shift from town to town. They might even hurt somebody in another town. And that's a serial crime, but it's actually a serial crime in a circle, a little bit like pedophilia networking or mafia network, where you have some people watching out. Have the police been here today after a rape? Has the police often been around in the town and so on? So they actually share a lot of data that's usable for a rape or a break-in or something. In this deserted area, as I live right now, it's very obvious that the rapists feel pretty safe, right? That also means that they almost get a little sloppier on that thing, and that's why I actually discovered the urine, that it was so visible. I mean, sometimes it's so hidden you can almost find out. In this case, it was, almost like a road sign. There you go over the bridge, and it's in that corner or on that corner. Corner of the house were kind of signatured in the woods, so you could actually find your way to the right house, right? I think the new drugs they're using, of course, there's some of the drugs that's been lab kind of drugs that you can actually retrace them. But raw hypnol is a very common drug. Makes you dizzy and disorientated, and you get a kind of, you can't really figure what happened. You also have a kind of a time drop out of the rape because you are gone. And you also might suffer after from disorientation, that you don't really find out what's going on because you are not able to. So when you really get yourself together, it's maybe 24 hours after or something. So actually, Rohypnol is I think, the drug they used very common in drug rape. Then you have all the veterinarian drugs, which is very powerful seduction drugs that actually puts you down for, and it's a very, very risky because it's very dangerous medication. And you also have a new thing is insulin, which is used for diseases, sugar blood diseases, and they are also very dangerous, and often they can be dosed wrong, and it's actually unconscious if you overdose. So all of these drugs put you unconscious, and all of them are dangerous. So actually, you got a kind of combination of organized crime and use of dangerous drugs, and that can lead to killings, and it also lead to fear in the society, right? When I make a profile of a person who do this, for example, if you have a person with key entrance, it would be likely that the person owns the house. The person have lived there before. The person have access to a key shop, or the access is just that the person knows something about keys, for example. Entrance from windows is pretty easy often, right? So actually, you have somebody who is trained in access, illegal access by key, by windows, and so on. It could be the man owning the house, service the house, or just a criminal that's good with many criminals can fix a door open just like that. So actually, the door is, the safety on doors in winter is number one if you're a single woman anywhere in the world. And secondly, in the area, I try to look out for who's keeping an eye on me, who is often, you could say, disrespectful, or who is confrontive, who is not nice. Often it indicate that there is a broken respect, and that actually indicate that the person don't value as a person. If a person starts to be bullying or confrontive or watching or assaulting, And in this area, there's a lot of these types, actually. And they are not the U-ring, they're just another kind of attitude, right? But they always, when a person steps over your limit, disrespectful, hostile, abusive, then you have to be alarmed, because that's a way to get ready for, if you don't respect people, it's much easier to make a kind of attack or rape, right? And then you have another thing which is called, you could say, for example, if there's a woman in the town that acts strange toward you, abusive or hostile or aggressive, right? It might be her sense. That's right. And if you watch it a little bit, you can see that it's often women threatened by something, threatened by man. Maybe she has been abused before, right? But often the attitude from a woman, uh, where you have no really reason for being abusive, violent, or aggressive, is often because she kind of sense. Just a minute, I have to disciplinate something right